Hi, this is Mike, and welcome back to 5 Minutes of Fantasy Sports. So today, I want to talk a little bit of basketball. The Monday night game just wrapped up, so we can talk football tomorrow and waiver wire ads. But basketball had some big news coming out. One of the big pieces of news was this guy, Michael Porter Jr. If you click on the little note here, he decided to have back surgery, and he's probably going to be out the rest of the season. So I had dropped Ben Simmons for Michael Porter. So now I was dropped Michael Porter. I had to figure out someone else to pick up. So I decided to add someone else who's injured, and that was TJ Warren. So TJ Warren's a good scorer. He's a good player. In the bubble way back when, he was the man. He was scoring like 40, 50-point games. I don't expect that from him when he gets back, but he is due back relatively soon. So if he's available and you have an IL spot that you can stash him on, he's definitely worth it. Because he'll come back as a scorer and he adds some threes and some good percentages and all that. And so the other thing I wanted to go over was Kemba Walker. So the Knicks have been a mess lately. And today, like it says here on this note, Coach Tom Thibodeau says that point guard Kemba Walker is currently out of the rotation and that Alec Burks will continue to start at point guard. So it's sounding like Kemba is going to be riding the bench for a long time. He's going to be if anything, the third string player on the Knicks. So the Knicks needed to shake it up because they just weren't off to a good start at all. So maybe this is the move that gets the team going. So I dropped Kemba Walker and I had to decide who to add. I'm taking a bit of a risk with this guy, Kevin Porter Jr. I've talked about him in previous episodes. But if you look at his stat line since he's come back from injury, other than the percentages, which are important, he has decent stats. So he's hitting 2 threes or so a game. 11, 23, 14 points, 10 rebounds, 8 rebounds, 6 rebounds, 11 assists, 12 assists, 9 assists, and then he's got 3 steals, 1 steal, 1 steal, and he gets no blocks, and he's got a few turnovers. So, he just needs to work on his shot, but he's a guy capable of putting up almost triple doubles, it looks like. Reminds me a little bit of Russell Westbrook, except if it's possible, not as quite a good of a shooter. So we'll see what he does moving forward, but he's going to get all the minutes he can handle in Houston. He's one of the franchise cornerstones they want to build around. There was some news and some rumors about John Wall coming back. Looks like that's not going to happen. Wall wanted to come back even in Houston if he could, and it looks like that's gotten cut off. So I had to make a little bit of a change to my fantasy roster last couple days in basketball. Hopefully for the better. My team tonight didn't do great. I didn't have a lot of guys going either, so I'm down 8-1. And I had Caruso, Barton, they did decent. All right. Bogdanovich wound up having an okay line. Nurkic wound up with 24 and 10. That's good. And KCP, who I picked up the other day, also had a decent game as well. So looking at basketball, moving forward, I think I like my chances still, but you always want to be tweaking your lineup. The problem you have too with that strategy is sometimes you overmanage, and if you overmanage, you can drop a guy just because they cool off for a week or two. My worst nightmare, not my worst nightmare, but it would be bad if Kemba Walker comes back all gangbusters in 2 weeks and, all of a sudden he's putting up 25 and whatever. But, for the next couple weeks at least, he's not going to be doing much, it sounds like. So it's worth it to drop a player who's basically cut off. Chris Boucher was someone else who comes to mind who just isn't doing what he was doing last year or the year before at all. So always consider, the best move for your team moving forward. Being a fantasy manager, sometimes you got to make those tough choices and decide who to stick with and who to move on from. So tomorrow, taking a look at my team, I got my 2 main guys, Harden and Curry, are playing tomorrow. Tyus Jones, I picked up. Julius Randle, hopefully he can get things going again now that they've shaken up the lineup. You can see, he was putting up 34, 10, and 3, and then it went 20, 9, 8, and it's just kind of slowed down his production. So, he started off the year real well, and he's just kind of, the whole team has been cold. So I don't know what the reason was, but whatever it was, hopefully it gets fixed in the Knicks land. So anyway, that's all we have to say today. Tomorrow will be a big football day. We'll talk about waiver wire ads. We talked about Madison. He might not be as good of a pickup as he seems, but there's other guys out there, especially at running back, that I think will be worth looking at and adding, especially if you need the help. So I'll talk about what I'm going to do for my team, and hopefully that'll help you with yours. So I'll talk to everyone tomorrow.